Yo guys, what's going on? It's Rose here bringing you guys the draft analysis for the BBR-D League. I am super excited to bring this to you guys. Shout out to D-Ray and Owen and everyone in the BBR mod team for, allowing me to take part in this season. I'm super hyped, super excited for this opportunity, and I love the team that we've drafted. Now, I'm going to quickly go over how the BBR works this season for the D-League. So, we got, I believe, 110 points to spend and splurge on an amazing draft team, and that is exactly what we have done. You were able to draft anywhere from 9 to 11 Pokemon. Mons ranged anywhere from 1 to, I believe, 20 points on the document. And how they are handling Terra this season. Now, most leagues over the last few months have done type restrictions, like you can pick, let's say, 2 to 3 Terra captains with anywhere from 1 to 3 types. Sometimes they say that 1 has to be a stab, so on and so forth. BBR is doing it different this season. we are doing low tier Terra this season, which I actually prefer over some of the high tier Terra stuff. But what they're doing is it is open Terra preview. Now, what does that mean? That means you still, in this format, you still pick a Terra captain. You get 1 Terra captain. However, that Terra captain can terastallize into any type in the game, whether it be anything from normal to stellar, any of the 19 Terra types. How many fucking are there at this point? Honestly, I don't even know anymore. But any of those 19 Terra types, you were able to terastallize into. But the caveat is, before the game, if you bring your Terra captain, right before the game, you and your opponent exchange Terra types. So let's say you're bringing a Terra Kilowattrel and they're bringing like a Terra Flygon. Let's say you're Terra Water Kilowattrel. You say, I'm Terra Water. They'll say, I'm Terra Normal, for example. And that's kind of how that's going to work this season, which is interesting. Not a lot of leagues are doing it, but they believe that this is what the direction of draft is going to turn into. And so they're kind of using us as a guinea pig this season. But super excited to see what that leaves in store for us. I absolutely love my team this season. I think I drafted really well. I was slated 14 out of 16 picks. And let's go ahead, without wasting any more time with explanations, let's get right into it. First up, I picked up Roaring Moon. And now, there was a lot of mons that I wanted this season that got sniped. I wanted Blood Moon. And then after that got sniped inside the top fucking 5, I wanted things like Iron Valiant, which got taken. I was even considering Latios, which I believe got taken. I was considering a Darkrai at one point. There were so many things I was considering, and I really wanted to use a lot of these mons, and every single one of them got sniped. I was gonna grab Great Tusk at this point too, if that was available. Nope. Basically everything that I wanted to use was taken. Now, Roaring Moon is not exactly a bad consolation prize either. This thing hits super hard with essentially a base 140 attack set, 119 speed. It has decent bulk, at least on the special side, with 105 HP and 101 special defense. This thing hits super hard. It is very bulky. It got access to Knockoff in the DLC, which is fantastic for it. Still gets moves like U-Turn, Dragon Dance, Acrobatics, which the Photosynthesis ability and the Booster Energy, you can turn that into a Booster Attack or Booster Speed. Get that proc. Now your Acrobatics is base 110, and you have something to nuke the flying types that you previously struggled with about 5 seconds ago. So, very interesting, especially if you're going to get that Dragon Dance off. You could even boost that farther, which is amazing. Especially if you're if you are attack boosting, then you can boost your attack essentially 2 stages and have a +1 speed boost. Fantastic. Super excited to use Roaring Moon. I used it, I want to say it in a Showdown League at the beginning of Gen 9. Haven't really used it since then, so definitely excited to use it now that it has Knockoff. Next up, we got Big Sploosh, our Rotom Wash. Super excited to use this one. I love the Rotom forms. Rotom Heat is my favorite of the forms, obviously. It is my favorite Pokemon. I love Rotom Heat. But unfortunately, I think for our team, Rotom Wash might fit better. I don't think it is better, but I think it fits better. But if you guys don't know what Rotom Wash does, this thing Volt Switches, Hydro Pumps, sets screens, Will-O-Wisp, Thunder Wave, and in the DLC, this got access to Pain Split again, which is actually fantastic for it. Super great bulk, decent speed tier at base 86, which all the Rotom forms except for base form are at. But yeah, with its phenomenal bulk, it's really solid special attack as well. Nasty plot access, I can do discharges, thunderbolts, all that kind of stuff. Hydro pumps, which is his only water stab. But yeah, super excited to use Rotom Wash. I think it's going to pair really, really nicely with Roaring Moon, because you're going to get those slow pivots into Roaring Moon to set up a booster energy and potentially just sweep with a Dragon Dance. But yeah, I think it pairs super well with Roaring Moon, and very excited to see what comes next. We have Sizzler, our Iron Moth. I am so excited to use this season. I love Iron Moth. I think it's a fantastic mon. I've used it once or twice in the past, but it's been a very, very long time, and I've never paired it with Roaring Moon, I don't think, and I don't think I've seen it done before either. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I've seen it done before. But, you know, that's besides the point. But you guys know what not Roaring Moon, what Iron Moth does. Clicks U-turn, it gets access to Fiery Dance and Sludge Wave, mainly as its two main stabs. It gets access to Overheat as well. Gets things like Discharge and Energy Ball and Dazzling Gleam, and it just gets some Toxic Spikes as well. So I can do like a Sash lead, you know, if I want to do that, or I can do like a Booster Energy, Speed, or Special Attack, depending on my investment, and just kind of use this as a setup option. I can also do Specs. I can do Scarf. I can do Eject Pack Overheat, which would be fantastic. And I think this is actually going to pair really, really well with Roaring Moon. This thing is going to obliterate the fairies that Roaring Moon has a hard time hitting. Obviously, I do get Iron Head with Roaring Moon, but with Sizzler, I can just click Spec Sludge Wave. I can just click Sludge Wave in general. I can put boots on this thing and just say, fuck your hazards, bing bong, and just start clicking shit. But yeah, I think this trio is very solid so far. I'm liking how this is building out. I think we have built a relatively kind of like new... I haven't seen a whole lot of this kind of thing before, so far so good. I think with how I am, I like to build stuff that's a little weird, a little unique, and just do stupid shit. And that's kind of where we're heading into this next pick, which is Panquake the Snorlax. I am so excited to use Snorlax, you guys. This is one of my favorite Gen 1 mons, if not maybe my favorite Gen 1 mon. I love Snorlax. I don't believe I've ever used it in draft, which is crazy. This thing is fantastic. It has fantastic bulk with a high HP stat, a high special defense stat, a decent, I think it's like base 65 or 70 physical defense, which isn't great, but when you couple that with things like Curse, which boosts that defense stat and the attack stat, which is already pretty high, I think it's a base 100 attack stat, it already boosts that enough, and it's slow as shit anyways, so lowering your speed is not that bad of it, not that big of a deal. We get some fantastic abilities, things like Thick Fat. We get immunity, and I believe Gluttony is our last ability. I could be wrong, but Thick Fat and immunity are fantastic abilities. At any rate, Thick Fat is gonna really, really help with Roaring Moon, because it's gonna be able to take hits from those things, from those ice types, those super hard hitting ice types that Roaring Moon does not really deal with too well. Looking at you, Iron Bundle, and Snorlax is going to be able to take those hits super, super well. And an added bonus, you guys, Snorlax is my Terra Captain this season. That means, like I said at the beginning of the video, I can terrestrialize this thing into any of the 19 Terra types that I do so choose. I can do whatever the fuck I want with this thing. I can run Assault Vest, I can run Curselax, I can run Terra Ghost Curselax, and basically make it into a chip down effect with Curse, which I think is hilarious. I love it. Super, super excited to use it this season, you guys. I absolutely love Snorlax. Like I said, one of my favorite mons in the format, and honestly, super, super, super excited. But next up, heading into round 5, I did get a couple of snipes. There were some other things that I wanted heading into this round, like right around the time that Snorlax got, or that I took, I think right before I took Snorlax, one of the like staples to this team that I wanted got taken. I really wanted Slitherwing, and you guys will see here in a little bit why I wanted Slitherwing. But I just felt like it paired really well with Roaring Moon and the guys that we have so far, especially with Iron Moth being able to take those ground hits, but unfortunately, didn't happen. That's alright. Next up. I said next up. Excuse me, computer. I said next up. Thank you. We have Screamtail, Bigly Tough. I am super, super, super excited to use this. Honestly, I kind of been not shitting on it, but I've never been like a super big believer in Screamtail. I've always thought it was pretty good, but I've never really fallen in love with it until I've had to deal with it. I lost in I think it was PBA playoffs because of a bulk up Screamtail that I just did not prepare for at all, which is my own fault. But then again, bulk up Screamtail is fantastic. It is one of the most commonly ran sets, and for whatever reason, I just assumed that if he's bringing Screamtail, I'm gonna deal with a wish passing set. So did not account for that at all. But that's my own thing. But with Screamtail, this thing can do a ton of different things, which I love versatility. So this is huge for me. I can be physical, I can be special because I get great coverage on both ends. I can be a wish passing set, I can be setup, I can be a dry passing baton pass set, I believe I get screens as well, which is actually super cool. And I'm super excited to use Screamtail, you guys. This team is really starting to come together, and I'm actually really excited to use it. Next up, we have a little bit of a weird pick. I grabbed Tinkaton. Now, I've never actually used Tinkaton in a draft league. I've always kind of stood away from it because it's a steel type, a physical steel type, that doesn't hit hard. Like at all. Like, you would think, with this gigantic fucking hammer that it's holding, that, you know, it would do something with it. But it's only got like a base 75 attack stat, which is not super high in all honesty. Like, it's pretty low. But it has some decent stats on the other side. It has a great speed stat in 94, which is actually really solid, especially for what this thing is. It is a utility mon, more so. And I'm willing to give it a shot, but it gets things like Fake Out. I can run Rocks, I can run Thunder Wave, I can run Knockoff as well. Get some solid coverage here with Tinkaton. And I would say Dual Stab, you know, Steel Fairy is a very good Dual Stab, which is kind of why the attack stat sucks, you guys. Fucking Game Freak, you had one job to make this thing amazing, or do the Marowak effect and give it an item that would make its attack stat doubled. You know how fun that would be to just click Gigaton Hammer and do 80% to some shit? You know how fun that would be, but you took that away from me. You took that away. You took that away from Big Swangin'. How dare you? How dare you take away from Big Swangin'? But anyways, I'm super excited to use Tinkaton. I think it'll be a fun little addition to this team so far, and honestly, like I said, I'm really liking how this team is shaping up, and you guys will see very soon why I'm really liking how this team is shaping up. I grabbed Torkoal, and if you look at my team, I really benefit from the Sun. Because of Roaring Moon and his photosynthesis ability, I'm not forced into running Booster Energy. I can run Choice Band or Choice Scarf and use the other stats as my way of boostering up. So I can do like a Choice Scarf with a booster attack, or Choice Band with booster speed, or Choice Band booster attack, or so on and so forth. Iron Moth. I can click Specs Overheat in the Sun and just fucking drop something. This thing will kill something no matter what, and it's fantastic. Screamtail, I can boost the speed if I want to do that for like a setup set. I can boost one of the defenses based on my investment. I can do a lot of things with it. And Torkoal honestly meshes really well. It's a solid defensive, like physically defensive mon that pairs pretty nicely with Snorlax, because even though yes, I boost the Sun, Snorlax has thick fat, so it just becomes, I think, essentially a neutrality. Maybe not exactly, but essentially a neutrality here. And I think it's going to be very solid on our team. I think it fits really well, and I'm actually very excited to use it. Next up, we have one of my staples. I love Mudsdale. I absolutely adore this mon. It is probably like one of my favorite ground types to use in Draft League, behind this and Donphan. Donphan is probably my favorite one to use in Draft League, but of course, it's round 8. I was not expecting to get that shit anyway. So, Mudsdale is a great consolation prize for me. I love Mudsdale. This thing is fantastic with great stats across the board. When it comes to its HP being at base 100, you have a very respectable 125 attack stat that you don't even really have to invest in to do a shit ton of damage. It now gets access to Body Press, which in coupling with the ability Stamina, that just gets better over time. I can always throw leftovers on it. I can throw an Assault Vest on it. I have the opportunity to Wish Pass into this, take a Stamina hit, and now be +1 at full HP and do some crazy shit. I can, by wishing into it with the Screamtail, of course. Hapu the Mudsdale, very excited to use it again. I used it in, I believe, PBA, and I haven't used it since then, and that's been like 6 months or something. not used. It's been a hot minute since I've used Mudsdale, and I love Mudsdale so much, you guys. I also did not mention Torkoal. His nickname is going to be Franklin, after Franklin the Turtle, because of course it is. But yeah, super excited to use Mudsdale here this season, and I hope you guys are excited to see her do her thing. Now, with the second to last pick of our draft, another Mon of mine got sniped, because of fucking course, why wouldn't it? I really wanted Brambleghast because I felt like that spinning option would be fantastic, and the grass ghost typing would perfectly fit into what I needed on this team, because I don't have a grass type, I don't have a ghost type to swap in for like spin blocking or anything like that. But I did get a decent little swap for it. I had to move some points around with my last pick in order to make that happen, but I grabbed Decidueye. Now, I don't think I've ever used Decidueye. I might have used Hisui and Decidueye way fucking back. You guys probably didn't see it because I don't think it was a league I uploaded. However, regular Decidueye, I don't think I've ever used, and honestly, I've never really been too big of a fan of it. I know it's a solid, like, lower end option for a team, but it's usually never like one of like the staple options for a team as like a ground resist or anything. But I think it's honestly going to do pretty solid for us. It's not going to do anything crazy. It gets U-turn, it gets defog. I believe it still has access to Roost. It has two great abilities between Overgrow and Long Reach as its signature ability. Now I don't have, with this, if I have a Zapdos matchup, I can use this as like a Scarf offensive option. Do like some Scarf U-turns or Spirit Shackles or anything like that. Make it a little bit interesting. I could always do some fun stuff there and not have to worry about like Static Pairs or Rocky Helmet as much, and kind of confuse the shit out of my opponents. I can also be physical or special because my stats are very, very similar. It's about a 10-point difference, I believe. It's not anything crazy. So I can definitely take advantage of both Spirit Shackle or Shadow Ball. I can take advantage of Leaf Blade or Leaf Storm, and I can do some fun shenanigans with that. But I really do think the Decidueye fits this team pretty well. It's not super fast, it's not super slow. I believe it hits around that base 70 speed tier, which is decent. And you know what? Honestly, really excited to use the Decidueye. I think it'll fit pretty well onto this team. Obviously, the sun doesn't exactly help it, but let's be honest here. It's not going to matter, I don't think. I think I'm able to pivot around in that way anyways. And with our last pick here, I picked a Mon that I've never seen drafted, I think. Maybe the only person I would have maybe is like Amel or someone, because they draft shit like this too. They're kind of like me in the sense that we do stupid shit because it's fun. And you know, this is where my draft is going to end with Tailspin the Flamigo. Now, I also will say, Owlover Queen the Decidueye. It's the most basic fucking name on planet Earth. I don't give a shit. Tailspin the Flamigo. I love Flamigo. On my original stream series of Gen 9, I actually did use a Flamigo for a little bit. And I really do like Flamigo. It was such a simple design, but I thought it was so dorky and derpy. It was fantastic as an option for me, and really excited to use it, you guys. I think as a potential Scarf option or as a potential Choice Band option as well, this thing is fantastic. With U-turn, gets, you know, obviously with Bing Fighting Flying, its two main moves are going to be, you know, Close Combat and Brave Bird. Gets access to Throat Chop as well, which is nice. Doesn't get too much coverage. However, honestly, it doesn't really need it, because my team functions so well as a utility and coverage team. Flamigo can kind of just come in and click buttons to either break teams down and kind of whittle stuff down, or kind of clean up a little bit depending on the matchup. Now, it's not going to come every week, but that's okay. You know what? We have 10 Mons on the roster and 6 spots every week, so not everything is always going to come. Like, there's going to be weeks where maybe Roaring Moon doesn't even show up, where Snorlax doesn't show up. There's always going to be something going on. But like I said, super excited to use this team. I think it's fantastic. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I think this is probably one of the most fun and unique teams that I've ever personally drafted. I haven't seen anything super similar in the past from other coaches, whether it's BBR or other leagues. I haven't seen anything like this, and I'm super super excited to use this. And now hold on a fucking minute. Where the fuck did you come from?
All right. I see how it is. All originality is just lost now. But I won't let this stand. Give me just a second. Hello, D-Ray?
In the wrong direction.
Yeah, this can be legal, right?
In the wrong direction on one-way street.
Uh-huh.
I'll probably get 20 years for this. Gotcha.
Okay, I see.
Parking next to a fire hydrant in the one...
I mean, I guess you're right. My team was better anyways. Thanks for the help.
No parking found. In the wrong direction on one-way street.
So I see, it's not against the rules, so I guess I can't really stop you. But good luck.
Now, hold on, hold the motherfucking phone, Thomas. You called the commissioner on me? Oh. This means war. You know, you tell me good luck. Good luck to yourself, buddy.